It being 7 o'clock. Good evening. It is 7 o'clock on Wednesday, March 11th, and I'm calling this meeting of the Chelmsford Planning Board to order. My name is Chris LaValle, and I'm the chair of the board. Tonight we'll be following the posted agenda. This meeting tonight is there anyone on Zoom?
No.
Okay, it is in person only. And the meeting is being televised live and recorded via Chelmsford Telemedia. Will be available on their website and on YouTube. Okay, so first item on the agenda is public input. No one in the audience and no one on Zoom, so we can skip that. Administrative review is none. Public hearings for new ones are none. Public hearings continued. Citizens petition for the Article 29 for fall town meeting. Still haven't heard from Brian either way. So I will take a motion to continue this till March 25th, and I will email him again after the meeting.
Do we really want to do that, or do we just want to, he's had 3 shots.
I'd like to give him one more shot.
Okay.
Well, do we have to have a communication about it? Why don't we just, what did you tell him last time?
I told him I'd give him till the last April meeting.
Okay, so then it's already been said.
Yeah.
I move to continue that public hearing
Okay?
till the next meeting.
Second.
You guys don't
Motion.
get to worry about it.
Motion by Mike, second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
And for the record, we are missing Saritha tonight, and everyone else is here, so that is unanimous. All right, discussions, Community Development Director's Report.
Thank you. Not too much this evening. Couple items. We had a managed growth strategy meeting on March 4th. Made good progress. The committee and NIMCOG continued to refine elements of the scope that were kind of a primary and secondary. NIMCOG indicated that we would be targeting a March 20th deadline to apply for a state grant to hopefully obtain a sum of money that would go towards the full project. Let's see, last night, Chris on behalf of the planning board, myself on behalf of community development, Concom, zoning board, and building were at the Citizens Academy at the police station. That was an interesting forum for citizens who participate in the academy to learn more about those functions in government.
And I just want to add to that, Evan had a really good activity for the group. It was called iPlan, was it?
iPlan, right?
And
iPlan.
Oh,
it's an online planning simulation for zoning, and he split the room up into 3 groups with different interests. They proposed different zoning changes to an area of Chelmsford, and then Evan ran it through the simulation and got feedback from different stakeholders about how the changes impacted businesses, open space, things like that. And it was really interesting to see people's understanding about what we deal with expand. It was kind of neat.
what were the
Because
things they recommended?
there was one group that was for open space advocacy, one for commercial, and one for industrial community.
Were they assigned?
Yeah.
What to, okay.
Yeah, they were assigned the perspective that
I see.
they advocate for. And so they got together in that group, proposed different changes to different zones. So changing a commercial to open space, or I think they changed industrial or residential to industrial to see how it would impact different areas and different changes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
Was it
Yeah.
televised? Like, is it,
No.
can't go back and watch it?
No. Because they're going to be doing this academy every year.
How many academy people are there?
There were 15 last night. I think there's a total of 18. So it's,
Do they cap it, or?
I think it's under 20. They want to keep it under 20. So it'll be an annual program. And the hope is that the participants will then volunteer for appointed positions or seek election.
Elected?
Yep.
And any of the people in the academy, were they, any of them already involved in?
Didn't appear to be.
There was one person who put in his papers for town meeting rep in precinct 10. But other than that,
And a
Everyone's-
good age range.
yeah.
And who, like, MCs the whole thing?
So James Garrity out of the manager's office kind of is the, administrator of the program. He attends the Tuesday night sessions. There'll be 10 of them in total. But the program is run through the select board and manager's office. So this is the first year.
And is he the only, like, town he's the only,
He's the
He's always
constant.
there?
He's the constant.
Constant,
And
thank
then, and then each Tuesday, different departments come in and kind of do high-level presentations and some sort of activity.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a great, it's a
Yeah.
great
So I gave a
program.
10-minute presentation with some Q&A after.
Who thought of this?
It's been around for a number of years in a variety of communities. I think it was highlighted by MMA the last couple of annual conferences. And as you know, the town's been trying to find new and different ways to increase volunteerism and
Entice,
engagement.
yeah.
So yeah,
That's
it's a,
great.
it's a good program.
That's a
So that's all I have.
Wonderful idea.
Any updates on the gap analysis?
Yes, that should have mentioned that. We met on Wednesday, March 4th with the consultant. We reviewed a final draft. That was a good discussion. So between staff and the consultant, we think we've identified an appropriate procedure. The consultant needs to just do one final update. And then the next step was for the manager to call for the tri-board meeting.
Okay.
So I think we were going to try to target a Tuesday, either in late March or early April.
Are we going to be able to get that report
Yeah.
draft before the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Excuse me.
And the tri-board meeting will be the,
It'll be Planning Board, Concom, Board of Health at a minimum. So those are the three boards.
Okay, thanks. Liaison updates.
Center Village Committee met with NIMCOG at the library the last Thursday in February. It was very well attended. A lot of the business owners actually showed up this time with lots of questions. Looking at the maps, they were there. They got to express their concerns. Things that they were looking to see, how some of this would impact their businesses. So we will be meeting tomorrow. Kelly's going to come back with some of the stuff that she has gathered so that we could start looking at that.
so was it in the format of like
They had a couple of maps around the back of the room so that they could look at and talk about and put some thoughts and things down on the maps. They had sticky notes so they could do it. Kelly from NENCOG got up and gave a presentation on the two proposals that we're currently going with. One would be funded through the TIPS if we put bike lanes on Chelmsford Street. One, if we don't put bike lanes on Chelmsford Street, would not be grant funded. This town would have to come up with the money for that so that they could see how the street would be set up with the sidewalks on both sides, rows of trees and things of that nature. So then it could actually, on the maps, that they could see where their businesses were and what was going to change for them. And parking, they would be putting some on-street parking on Chelmsford Street, some of those things. So there were a lot of things for them to look at, listen to, and ask questions. So.
and was it overall, was there like a sense, was it favorably or unfavorably received?
Evan would have more.
I would say it's mixed. Private property owners are concerned about loss of parking
Yeah.
is their primary concern. As some of you know, many of those parking spaces are partially located within the town right-of-way.
Yeah.
NIMCOG indicated that the roadway is a unsafe roadway, has higher vehicular and pedestrian and bicycle accidents. So it's clear that something needs to be done and is going to be done. But as you know, I mean, the town's not necessarily inclined to advance any project where there is, significant private property opposition or concern. So this process has been a good one where the stakeholders have been able to engage, in really detailed conversation. And there very well may be a third option that's generated.
Hasn't come up yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think we received enough feedback to create a third option. A third option would likely not be as ambitious as either of the two options in an attempt to minimize private property impact.
And get more buy-in.
Yeah.
Where on Chelmsford Street are we looking at?
It would start at Alpine and go all the way to the center. Anything that's going to happen from Alpine to the entrance to 495, that would be taken over when Mass DOT comes in and does the reconfiguration at the end of the on and off ramps.
Oh, that would be nice. Get something safer.
Yeah.
So, but
But
that's,
I mean, there's not
Well,
much
reserve
parking there.
judgment until you see the plans.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I
But-
think like we could get something safer.
That stretch of the road is going to be covered, as I said, once Mass DOT comes in and puts out their plan. So,
The rotary plan.
yes, the rotary plan. So, right
That's
now,
gonna
what
add more space to the rotary plan.
so NEMCOG's looking at starting at Alpine and going all the way up to the center of town and stopping at the lights there, at Billricker Road.
Okay. Anything else?
That is all from
All
them.
right. Deirdre?
I missed the housing advisory. Was there any big reporting there?
The main takeaways are the Housing Advisory Board at the next meeting, which is Wednesday,
Wednesday the
April 1st at 4:30.
Fools.
We want to revisit the mission statement in collaboration with their appointing authority, which is a select board, to identify areas in which the select board wants the Housing Advisory Board to focus. As you recall, when Housing Advisory Board was first created, it was during a time when the town was aggressively trying to reach 10% on the subsidized housing inventory. So after 3 planned production plans, the town has essentially done that. So the Housing Advisory Board has brainstormed, and they've come up with educational outreach for residents related to housing services and housing programs, with a focus on first-time home buyers and empty nesters, seniors who are kind of housebound. This is not housing production, these are housing services and programs that are available. And then they would, what's that?
Keep things moving along.
Yeah, and then they would obviously continue to play a role in meeting with developers who come before the planning board as part of the affordable housing bylaw, as well as, 40Bs.
Okay.
I wonder if we could get the Housing Advisory Board to take up or give input regarding the PILO,
Yeah, I think we should.
We'll get to
Formula.
that. We'll get to
Yeah.
that shortly.
but that might be
Yep.
they're looking for tasks.
Anything else?
Evan, do you know why the ZBA didn't have a meeting last week?
There was no new items.
Okay. So they
Simple
didn't
as
have a
that.
meeting last week.
Oh, okay. John?
So I attended the Managed Growth Strategy Task Force meeting along with Mike and Evan. Evan gave a great summary of that, so I won't go into that in the interest of time. Next week, next Wednesday, I'll have a NIMCOG council meeting that I'm planning to attend.
Okay. All right. Joel?
Had a Board of Health meeting. They had a hearing, Community Teamworks Incorporated, CTI, that's the group that runs what used to be Chelmsford Inn housing. And they were coming to request extensions for stays for 9 people. And apparently, under the existing bylaw, and I got a copy, or I'm sorry, a regulation, it's Article 4 of Chapter 201, which has all of the specifications about how long people can stay, what size rooms, and so forth and so on. In there, it says that they can grant up to 2 extensions. So they were asking for essentially a third extension, which essentially means that the Board of Health is essentially waiving their regulation to allow that. So they did vote to waive it for people, and the reason primarily being is the weather, that it was difficult to relocate people with the weather that we've been having. So that continues. I just thought it was interesting to know that the Board of Health has the authority to waive their own regulations when they have a certain criteria that they have to use according to the Mass General Law. But that was really the main thing. And then the next meeting is April 7th.
Okay. Mike?
Nothing particular here. Of course, I was at the Managed Growth meeting. Missed the Historical Commission. That was last night. I guess they had one topic, as best I heard. Nothing else to report.
For Concom, last night was Carl Bischoff's last meeting as chair, as a member of the Concom.
And as a member of Concom?
Yes.
or He's not
Yes.
going to be on
moving to
Concom?
Maine.
Nope,
right?
he is moving out of town.
Oh,
Yep. So he is no longer on Concom. David Coons wrote up a really nice summary of Carl's tenure on the Concom in the manager's newsletter. So if you want to read it, it's in there. So there was a nice farewell to Carl. They named a new chair, Chris Garahan, and then Peter is vice chair.
How long has Carl been on the Concom?
9,
5 or 6 years?
no, it's, I think 9.
Wow.
3 terms, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think from what I remember
Okay.
hearing on the recording. So, all right.
so they'll be posting for,
They already have, I think. I think I saw it in the, this past select board meeting. All right. Moving on to new business, where most of our meeting tonight is going to be spent. So zoning updates. So I updated, let's see. So FinCom presentation is now going to be March 26th for the zoning articles for town meeting. And then the select board is going to be, what day was that?
Monday, April 13th?
Yeah, Monday, April 13th. I had 9th in my notes. So I'll be presenting with Kelly on those evenings in preparation for town meeting. All right, prioritizing upcoming work. So I updated the document we went over last time, put them in the priority order that we discussed at the last meeting. Still have a couple town council questions that he, I believe, answered pretty completely in the last email. So we had questions on the PILO, which I'll get to in a minute, and then the procedures for the special permit and site plan voting. So what he said is the procedural requirements for the site plan and the special permit need to be in the bylaw, but the procedure itself can be in our rules and regulations. So there's a little bit of a nuance there that we can remove any process and procedure from the bylaw and put it into our regulations and policies. And then if there are any regulatory requirements, those have to go in the bylaw. So I will work on a draft and then make sure that town council is.
Did I
reviewing
miss
it.
his response? Did you
Oh, no, it was just a response between me and him and Evan.
forward that along to us?
Yep. And then for the Pilo, the bylaw, there's actually, we'll get to it in a minute, but there's actually some text in the bylaw that needs to stay in the bylaw. And then there's some stuff that we can pull out and have separate. So we'll get to that once we start discussing that one. So he answered our questions, and then we'll be able to approach those topics now. Questions on any of that? Okay. Moving on. River Neck zoning conflicts and then proposed scope. So what I did is I added the PDF from the NEMCOG review that we had. What I wanted to
That was
do.
helpful, because I was having trouble finding that.
Yeah, I did too, actually. I wanted to talk about two things tonight. Number one, the approach we want to take for attacking this, and then the scope. So we'll take the scope first, since Evan has that document open. So-
Should be a map in here, right?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Scope meaning what part of this map do we want to include in the conflict
Yeah,
zone?
so the way they broke it out in their analysis, Monmouth, McFarland are both individual items that they have in there. Merrimack, Riverneck West and Riverneck East are also individual items. My recommendation is that we could break it up in discussion pieces, but I would like to try and address all of it. East, West, McFarland, and Monmouth, all together in one cohesive proposal.
I would agree with that. I do not think Turnpike should be included, if that,
No, I'm not recommending that.
Yeah.
Just focusing on Riverneck,
yeah.
because I think Turnpike has a little bit of a different flavor.
It's got its own set of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also need to talk about,
Hold on a second, can you go back? So, Turnpike, like, are we talking about changing the zone? Or coming up with a different zone for Turnpike? When you mean it has a different set of problems? Like,
It-
are you talking like Riverneck West, McFarland, like, those are all we're gonna do?
That's a chunk.
yeah,
Like, you're gonna say, okay, those all gonna be residential, like, I know we haven't started talking.
well, we have to
but-
talk about it.
But if you're saying like those are all gonna be together, the same thing?
Mhm.
Is that what you're thinking?
Treat them at the same time.
Well,
Yeah,
kinda
treat them
like
at the
we
same
did
time.
with
Oh.
Kate's Corners, that
Okay.
area that we comprised, and the same with the one in North
Yeah.
Chelmsford.
So
So
those
we'll
are-
make the area
So-
Riverneck and the roads off it.
Okay. I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm not
even though
disagreeing, but I
they're-
was just-
even
I
though
wasn't sure
Turnpike
whether
is-
You were telling me
no.
that you want to make them all the same zone?
No,
Or you
handle them
just-
all
is
at the
this
same
just
time
what
as
we're gonna
opposed to
handle?
As the zone.
separately, and then not handle Turnpike at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that should probably still be on the list at some point.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Down the list.
The other thing we need to talk about is the Apollo property that abuts Riverneck. We should keep that in the discussion as well, because there are impacts on that property, because it also actually has the back end
Abuts
on
Monmouth.
Riverneck
Yep.
and abuts the properties on Monmouth.
In McFarland, I think, no?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe both,
I
I'm
think-
not sure.
I think it does a little bit.
Yeah. And there are some properties, I was looking at the GIS map, and there are some properties there that are mixed zone.
Yeah.
So we should take a look at all of that. Don't know if we'll need to change anything on that Apollo property, but, and I don't want to look at all of Apollo, just that one.
Whatever abuts,
Yeah.
like that area that abuts,
Yeah.
that if you can clean, like, again, clean it, cut it off like we did for
Yep.
Kate's Corner.
So are people okay with that?
Makes sense to me.
Good a way to do it as any.
And then do we envision doing Golden Cove, Turnpike, and Mill Road at some other time?
Yes, I'd like to, I know it's ambitious and long-term, but eventually address all of those.
Yeah, do you envision like doing those three together, or?
I don't know, I haven't thought that far.
Fair.
One step at a time.
I don't know that you would treat Golden Cove with Turnpike and Mill.
That's what I
Turnpike and
would-
Mill are similar.
I'm almost
because
thinking
they-
Golden Cove, do we
They
want
have
to,
IA on the other side of the street, but Golden Cove is
do we want,
it's more of a cut-through kind of thing.
I
what's
didn't hear what
going
you
on
said.
with, what's going on with Golden Cove?
The Golden Cove doesn't have like an IA on one side of the street or the other, which Turnpike and Mill do. So I would probably treat Golden Cove a little bit differently. It also has the issue of basically it's a cut-through,
Yeah.
you know, that the others don't have as much.
Yep.
So
Is that, what is that zoned right now? Is that RC?
Golden Cove,
Yeah.
it's RC, I believe, on the east side, and I think it's RB on the west side.
Yeah.
if I recall.
Actually, if you look at the NEMCOG recommendations, their recommendations are only related to traffic and circulation and not,
Not actual rezoning.
Not zoning.
Not
Rezoning.
rezoning.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right, so,
I would agree.
Oh, we don't have to upset every apple cart.
yeah, I don't think we're gonna solve any traffic and I don't think we.
no, and I'm not sure we want to tackle that.
I don't even think we could.
Yeah, think this group can focus more on the
Zone.
zoning as opposed to the
Yeah, I was just
traffic.
wondering if there was an issue on the zoning, that's what I was trying.
It doesn't look like it, that they,
So-
So
that
that's
they
interesting
saw.
that they put it on the map, but it's a traffic problem, not a zoning problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would agree with that,
Because the topic was zoning conflicts of interest.
yeah.
Yep.
Which, I mean, honestly, Mill Road has some weird things about it, as does Turnpike. But yeah, not really Golden Cove.
Okay,
Maybe the gravel property on the corner.
And I haven't heard anything really about that.
all right, so for the approach, we can do one of two ways on this. We can do what we did, I think, I'm trying to remember which one we did it with, or both. Start with a draft that one or some of us put together, and then talk about it, discuss it, and then bring in neighbors to react and discuss. Or bring in the
Businesses.
neighbors and businesses first, get their thoughts and ideas, and then draft something.
so when we started with Kate's Corner, we had to start first with a zone, because we didn't have a zone. So that's why we kind of went that first. Once we got like what we wanted in the zone, then we kind of brought in the neighbors. I think now we have our zone, I don't think we're gonna create a new zone.
No, we're not creating a new zone, but I think discussing what's on the ground now, and then what do we want to change that? What do we want to change it to?
Well, we have had a hearing already about this area where people did comment. I mean, I think a number of us are pretty familiar with it, that my feeling at least is it would be good to at least have some options, some straw men. It's a little bit easier
Yeah.
to edit than it is to just, you know, just have a wide open,
Yep.
this is what I would like to have kind of thing. So, but still have a good number of options and be able to modify them as, you know, based on input so that we're so open and flexible. But gives at least something specific somebody can point to say, I like that, or I don't like that.
People
Yeah.
good with that approach?
I felt like the last time we had them, the neighbors were not wanting to have roads of options closed off because there was kind of so much shifting sand.
Right. It was just a timing thing. They just basically were saying, this is not the right time to do this
Right.
because of the uncertainty.
But there
about
is
the
still quite a bit of
warehouse.
shifting sand over there.
But I also think it was the fact that the scope at that time was only those two side streets. It wasn't Riverneck.
Yeah, true.
I think as
that
you're
was a
broadening it up
problem.
to that River Neck East, it's,
Yeah.
it's widening our scope of what we're looking at to the rezoning, so.
And we didn't have CB Light back then. either.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And we have, and we're including Apollo, right, like, it's a whole different.
Okay, so if people are okay with that approach, the next question is, do we have any volunteers for coming up with an initial draft?
Yeah. Everybody stares off into the distance.
I can do it.
Yeah,
You'll do it?
Yeah, I can,
I'd be willing to help a little too, you know.
me and Mike work together. We came up with
Yeah, we'll
CB
do it.
Light.
The CB Light team.
Another couple of coffees.
Okay.
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys did a nice job on the Kate's Corner.
Yeah. I would give it a
When
shot.
do you think you'd be able to get it done? Can you get a draft done by next meeting?
Not with me and.
No, you're
No,
not here.
it's- yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like, I mean, we're not going in front, this is not April town meeting,
And
right?
she's got FinCom,
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
Not
we're
next meeting.
both kind of tied
We all
up.
heard about it.
who have to report on everything, so they're busy.
I might have a full-time job and it's my busy
Right.
season.
I do
right
want to
now.
make sure that we continue moving, so.
Yeah, no,
Maybe after town meeting.
Yeah, I think it would have to be after, but there's no reason we can't come up with, you know, a small handful of ideas
Yeah.
to
Options,
push
yes.
forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So May
yeah.
meeting? Okay. Evan, can you,
Is there a way, how did you get the, for Kate's Corner, when we highlighted those, is there an easy way to highlight those?
on the GIS map?
On the
It's-
GIS
And
map.
it's not easy.
It's not easy. Just if we work together, it'd be like, if we could do that.
My recommendation is to look at the GIS map,
Yeah.
figure out the right zoom
Yep,
overlay with some transparency, and then take a screenshot.
screenshot and do it, and then I've
And-
got
and-
it, yeah,
fill
and
it
then,
in.
That's such a big area, you're gonna have to do multiples.
Yeah.
okay, I can, yeah, I'll figure it out.
Would you be able to, I think for the mill area, you were able to come up with current uses?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Because that might be good to have what the current uses are on the properties.
Okay.
So maybe in the next couple of weeks, if you send that out to the board.
It was originally Monmouth and McFarland. They were, well, Monmouth at least was originally residential, right? And then it was zoned industrial, because I thought some of those homes were.
That was up in the land of the pig farm, wasn't
It
it?
was a pig farm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was
I
the,
don't
like,
recall the specific history.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know, I
80s.
think
Like
Sean
80s.
Campbell, who lives there, has presented pretty detailed history to the board at one time.
Okay. I'm just wondering how in a historical, in our records, how we would track that down.
He's done most of the town meeting research.
Okay.
Sean has?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he presented it to the board at one point.
Yeah, at
Okay.
one of the meetings about the other big development,
The warehouse.
warehouse, with the road through.
Because I was just curious how the zoning had changed, but my understanding was that that area was, if it wasn't residential, there were residences there, and then it was zoned IA on top of the residences.
Likely.
I think
Oh, yeah,
that's,
yeah, yeah,
And
that's
that's-
definitely,
correct.
I can tell you that, definitely. It was in the
Yeah.
early 80s. I might have the town meeting, like, I actually
Early
looked it
80s
up.
would fit. That
Yeah,
would
it was
definitely
definitely
fit.
the early 80s,
Okay.
because that was all residential.
Okay. Yeah.
And I
just-
actually
I think that
have-
would help. I think it would
I
be good
have
to
all of
have
that.
that. Okay.
Yeah, honestly,
do
if we
have
went
all
back
of
to
that.
some of those meetings from that warehouse There were a few presentations by neighbors about the evolution, so some people have done that work.
Yeah, but I actually went and looked at all the town meetings, when it got
When it got
moved
zoned?
and when it changed,
Okay.
That was good.
and I have that someplace in here.
Okay.
But it was the 80s, because I remember there was also a big issue about connecting into Chelmsford water versus East Chelmsford water
Oh.
at the time, and that I do remember,
Huh.
that discussion with, when I was a kid, so I was a
Okay.
teenager at the time, so it was the 80s when it happened.
Okay. All right, so we'll put that on the agenda for our first May meeting. All right, next item is the possible PILO changes. So if you look up 195, 137, and 138. So 137 talks about the provision of affordable units, talks about the ability to do payment in lieu of money to the housing stabilization fund. In Part E, it talks about the discretion of the planning board to use that money. Or disposition
still the name of that fund,
disposition
Evan?
of property.
Housing stabilization.
And then in 138, it talks about the standards for affordability and then the calculation and distribution of affordable units. And then in D, it talks about the calculation of the payment in lieu of. It also talks in number 1 about the actual payment dollar figures. And then the interesting thing is that in number 2, it talks about the ability on an annual basis for the planning board by majority vote to modify the per unit fees to reflect current market conditions following a public hearing and consultation with the housing authority. So we have that ability to actually change them. The problem is that if we change those numbers using that process, we can file it and keep it on file, but then our bylaw has different numbers than what's on file.
So we'd have to change that too.
So we would either have to go to town meeting, or what town council recommended is to remove the dollars completely in number 1, update number 2 to not reference those numbers in number 2. So that would be a change that we would have to go to town meeting for.
That seems like a good approach.
Yeah. And then we can work on updating the actual numbers using this process. So we'd go through a public hearing process, we'd get input from the Chelmsford Housing Authority, the Housing Advisory Board, in that process.
And
And then that would allow us to, again, I'm just thinking of town meeting, we could also put something in here that we would revisit this, like, put a bylaw that says, we're gonna revisit this every year as part of our charter. So that way that
some
kind of,
interval.
like, so that satisfies, like, taking the control out of town meeting, but requires the planning board to always look at this and always, report to, I don't know, whatever, the town manager, whether we're gonna increase or decrease or make any change, like, kind of put something.
We had also talked, we had also talked about not doing the PILO, that we really, somewhere in something I read preparing today, there's a list of the number of units that have been created from 2000 to 2010 and from 2010 to 2020, and that we are liable to dip under the 10% if we keep building units, but not building affordable units, except for with 40Bs when we fall under the 10,
Yeah.
it's kind of a chasing your tail kind of thing. And so in order to prevent dropping below the 10% and to help fulfill the need for affordable housing, I think it should be incumbent upon us to really require the units.
Yeah.
And the PILO is, in my opinion, only should be applicable for the like for a fraction. I mean, you could say you have to round up, but that's maybe onerous to developers. But if they had an alternative to buy a portion, if they were doing 10, and then instead of having to do 25% 3, they could do 2 and pay $0.5 of the sizable unit. That seems like a reasonable thing, but I don't know where that would go.
That
Like,
would be in our policies and procedures.
and I think we should put that in
Yeah.
as a policy.
So that'd be the third thing that we would do. So we would
'Cause-
update the bylaw at
Mhm.
town meeting. We would go through the process of updating the numbers. And then we would also update our policies to reflect when we would want to use it.
Because, I mean, then it's not depends on who's on the board.
Yeah.
Whether they,
Right.
are happy to work very happily with developers or not,
Yep, so that's those three things that we would do.
Can a unit that's deemed affordable, they build a development, it's an affordable unit, that person sells that house.
There's a whole formula in there for that.
Does it ever
Somewhere.
become, does it ever fall out of that number?
Does, so the ownership units have a deed rider. The deed rider specifies the procedure and the resale value based upon a formula. But there's also provisions within the deed rider that mirror the state's provisions, where if an income eligible owner cannot be found within a certain period of time, they can then go through a petition process whereby they have to notify the town, the housing authority on behalf of the town and the state, and it can be sold to a non-income eligible person.
Do we know, does that happen a lot?
On the ownership, it happens, so we don't have a lot of affordable ownership.
Okay.
Equestrian Lane is one, we don't have a lot. The condos down at 360 Littleton Road is a first-generation 40B. And so, yeah, it does happen.
And
Because
have
that
they
hurts
have
us too with
been
the-
unable to find income eligible buyers
Yeah, so
yet?
that's, as you can imagine, that's based upon the specific, economic cycle at that particular time. My guess is in today's climate, they wouldn't have any difficulty.
Right.
But there's certainly, recent past where they did have difficulty.
Really?
And this is within the context of, David Hedison and the Housing Authority being ingrained in the community.
Right.
If they can't find income eligible people, that kind of, shows you how difficult it can be at
Then
certain
it would be a big
times.
hurdle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't have a lot of, the only single-family 40B is Equestrian Lane. 360 Littleton Road comes to mind.
How many units are there?
That has, I think, 180.
So of the affordable ones would be like 35 or something?
It would have been 20% would be affordable.
So 36?
I can't think of any other ownership off the top of my head. Most of them are rental.
And then rental, we don't have that problem, we wouldn't really have that.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything that we weren't missing on the back end that was
Right.
causing our numbers to drop too.
Right. I mean, to your dislike of 2 families and 3 families, I mean, those are creating units that we then need 10% on, you know what I mean? To maintain at 10%. It's not just single family, it's when you subdivide them.
Yep.
All right, so we'll we'll start scheduling and getting that into the pipeline as well. All right, next one is the contractor yard definition updates. So we started talking a little bit about this last meeting, the last time we talked about these. I think this one is going to require some research. It's going to require some creative defining, some options that we could look at. I'm willing to do some of that and then bring something forward. Are there any guidelines, concepts, thoughts that people have on this one?
You know what, Mike, John, you're heading to NEMCOG next week, right?
Yes.
Maybe bring it up to, like, the other towns in our area and see if they've run into any problems, and then if they had any thoughts. Because you have other planning board members at NEMCOG,
Yes.
right?
Yep,
That might be a
definitely.
first step to see if we can, and I think, Chris, you said you were going to that planning board thing?
Yep.
'Cause I get a feeling we're probably not the only people that have this problem. Or have seen it or done it.
I've
but they
started doing some research and there's not a lot out there.
Do they all define it like us? Do they have like the definitions like us, or?
No, it's very generalized in terms of they don't do indoor and outdoor, they just do contractor.
Contract, yeah.
And then,
Well, which makes sense, because
Yeah.
we were kind of talking about it, right? Like,
It doesn't, because I think that and for those that do have just the contractor use, it doesn't seem like they have anything else for some of the heavier stuff.
yeah.
So I couldn't tell if that includes it or doesn't include it. It really wasn't clear.
Yeah.
And I haven't done a ton of research on it yet, but just some preliminary stuff. So,
what would be a good source for that information, do you think?
You didn't find anything in Massachusetts?
just, I didn't dig deep,
Okay.
but,
I can look at a couple sources in Massachusetts. Council also has access to a word search database of all zoning
Oh.
in Massachusetts. But from a methodology perspective, I think we're left with defining the, top two or three items of concern or sensitivity. You may want to look at the home occupation bylaw for inspiration that regulates the number and weight of commercial vehicles. Maybe that's a methodology. You may also want to duplicate kind of your fulfillment center. You have small, medium, and large. And maybe you can define based upon either square footage, number of trucks, combination thereof. And then I think we're left with, the type of contractor. If it's an indoor condo contractor, such as GNAV or what was proposed on Riverneck, innately that has smaller trucks. And so it may turn out that the primary concern is, heavy construction and heavy trucks and things of that nature. If that's how we decide to do the methodology, then defining those characteristics are pretty straightforward.
yeah.
Yeah, that actually was one question I had was, does anybody in the town have access to the ITE stuff? Because you need to be a member to access
DPW
their.
may,
That's what I was wondering.
they may, I'm not
Okay.
positive on that.
Okay. Because that would be one place to look. Because they actually get into the nitty-gritty of, how they, characterize everything that they would put into a particular category, like with warehouses, they ended up creating like 5, 6 different categories.
Right.
So, I can look into that,
Yeah, if you could.
yeah.
Okay. I think that'll be a good start. All right, anything else on these topics? All right. Moving on to anything else on managed growth strategy for old business?
No, I'd say we're about at the point of looking at the scenario ideas that we've been kicking around quietly.
Okay.
It's gonna be another meeting or two before we have anything, I think, significant to show.
Yep.
Yeah, NIMCOG took a lot of input and.
They did.
Yeah.
They've been actually pretty good to work with.
Okay.
They always are.
Yeah, they are.
All right, moving on to the meeting minutes then. February 11th minutes. Anita was out on that one, so Anita will not be voting.
The only thing, just an FYI though, on the adjournment, it says unanimous 8-0. I wasn't here, so I didn't vote on that. Though.
You did,
though-
you were thinking it.
But I'm there with you in spirit, if you want to put that.
Yes, you were
8-0
thinking
in
it, so that's how we knew it was
spirit, that's
8-0.
fine. Yeah.
We knew you wanted to adjourn.
Adjourned, yeah.
All right, so with that edit,
Then I will move that we accept those minutes.
motion by Mike to
Second.
accept the minutes with that edit. Second by John. All in favor? Unanimous. Well, with one
Minus
abstention.
Yeah, with one abstention.
So that's six in favor and then one abstention. All right. February 25th. Everyone was here. Mike, you were on Zoom.
Yep,
It said I read,
coughing quietly in the background.
it said I read the letter, the clean letter from DPW, but I didn't actually read it, but that's okay.
You mentioned it.
You said we got one.
And it was
Chris,
clean.
Chris said, well, I understand we have a letter, would you like to read it? And I said, I don't think I really need to.
That's
And he
right.
just basically said, we're okay. But AI thinks I did read it, so, okay.
Again,
Who's
you were
needing
thinking that, it put it in there.
All right, so I'll accept
Hold on,
Yeah.
we're doing the 24th?
25th.
25th, sorry, wrong day.
25th, I thought, right?
Were you here that day? Did you vote? I thought you voted.
She came in late.
Okay, so you didn't vote, okay.
On which thing did I not vote?
Riverneck?
Nope. Deirdre wasn't here for the
Okay.
Riverneck.
For the what?
Riverneck
Riverneck?
vote.
She came in at the new business prioritization discussion.
Okay, that's it.
I didn't vote on it because I didn't do my,
Didn't mull on it.
I didn't mull in.
You also weren't here.
I'm gonna say this was the.
You were
um,
late for that one.
This wasn't the original Riverneck vote. This was when they came back with the new plans.
Oh, okay.
Anita didn't vote on that one because
I didn't vote.
she didn't mull in.
Oh, so, I'm all confused.
All right, so I'll take a motion.
I will move that we accept those minutes.
Motion by Mike,
I'll second.
second by Anita. All in favor?
Aye.
That one's 7. All right. One thing I did forget to mention, I don't think you have received it, but our positive decision on the Riverneck Road decision, so that is the subdivision decision.
Three-lot subdivision, yeah.
Yeah. That has been, oh, no,
No,
sorry.
you're talking the
The water
water
district.
district.
PFAS, water treatment. The water treatment PFAS decision has been appealed,
That we approved.
that we approved, has been appealed by the neighbor.
The 40B neighbor?
Yep.
And what's the basis of?
I don't know.
Exceeding authority is probably the
Probably,
theme.
I quickly read through it, but
It's pretty generic.
Huh?
I think arbitrary and capricious was mentioned.
Always is.
Okay.
So in this case, where the board has approved it, normally the town takes what's referred to as a passive defense, meaning that the town will not ask council to aggressively defend the board's approval, and at that point, it would be the burden of the applicant to spend its
Contest.
resources.
Yeah, and there's a pretty strong presumption in favor of the board.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess, what was the applicant?
It was for PFAS treatment. They applied for site plan approval and the aquifer lot coverage special permit.
Yes, but what is the person who's filing upset about?
I can forward you the,
Yeah, if you recall, the
document.
the abutter did participate during the hearing, asked a couple questions, and I think his statement was he just wanted to make sure that this project did not negatively impact his developable ability. And the
He was the
appeal-
one that was looking to put up the 40B units.
Correct,
Right,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I think the appeal suggests that the board didn't do a detailed, thorough review to make certain determinations.
But he didn't bring anything up that he thought was gonna.
No,
determine.
he didn't bring anything
Okay,
specific.
because that's all I'm trying to understand,
Yeah.
like, did this person even show
Did
up?
we
Like, I'm
miss
trying,
something?
did he come in?
That's a good-
He wasn't, I remember, I think the first meeting we had about it, but didn't come to the
It's a
second
good
one.
point, because I think the board,
Didn't tell us,
the
like-
board has a recent track record of if an abutter brings something to the table that's specific, the board is inclined to pursue it.
Yeah.
Well, he did ask if they were doing new wells,
Yep,
and the answer was no. There were
Yeah.
no new wells that would encroach closer to his property.
But to your point, unlike the other residential abutter that asked specifically about tree cutting, the board asked the applicant to present that plan.
yeah.
So it's a good point.
Yeah, no, I was trying to just trying to understand, I'm glad you guys told me, because I didn't even know that he showed up, like, I didn't even put the dot.
Yeah,
that
he
that
said the
that
first
he was even
one.
here, because I don't remember a lot of any, other than the trees and being able to see
Yeah.
the top, that there being any, like, it was very controversial, that's why I'm a little surprised.
Because I remember him questioning whether, like, putting this in was going to impact his ability to develop the 40B that he was
Yeah.
putting in and whatnot. But again, he didn't come with anything specific or
Yeah.
concerning, just,
So I will forward you the document, legal document. All right, I will take a motion.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Motion by John, second by Mike, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and good night.